I've been traveling solo to the US for the past 15 years. I've been to 24 states plus the capital city, Washington, D.C., and in this video, I'll be showing you how to get your US visa. If you're new here and just joining the series, I would suggest going all the way back to episode 1 to get an idea of what's going on. In the previous video, you followed me around as I showed you my cooking skills and took you to the Selfie Museum in country number 2, the United States. In this video, I'll be showing you how I got into the US and how you can do it too. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. For those who've been here for a while, welcome back. Apologies for cutting this adventure short, but as promised, I told you that once I am finished with a country, I'm gonna show you how I did it so that you can do it too. And this video is no exception. If you are unfortunate to be from one of those countries with a weak passport, like Jamaica, you're gonna need a visa. You're definitely gonna need a visa. Now, which visa you're gonna need, that's a whole different ballgame. The US offer a whole range of visas, and you have to know which one you need for the type of travel that you want. But in this particular video, we're gonna talk about being a tourist. They have this visa we call the tourist visa, which is called B1, B2 visa, which allows you to travel as a tourist or for business to some extent. And we're talking about going to conferences, like there's an event, there's like a business conference. This visa allows you to do all of that for a period of time. The visa is offered in quite a few countries. Jamaica is one of them on the list. I'm not sure which country doesn't offer it, but you could go to their site and see all that information specifically for your country. But for Jamaicans, I'm gonna put a link in the description below with all the information there to guide you on how to do it yourself. As of today, which is July 12, 2025, the US visa is $185 US. Now, depending on who you choose to do it with, the prices might be different. If you choose to do it yourself, then you're only paying $185. But if you choose to go with the travel agency and everything, you know, they got a profit to it, their service fee and all of their time, all of that stuff is going to be factored in it. So don't come for me or come for them and say, oh, how are you charging this when the price is this, whatever. They gotta run their business. You need a visa, and it costs $185. Now, I'm going to tell you how I did it. I am on my second visa for visiting visa. I've had a total of 4 visas, but they're 2 different type of visas. The other one, or the very first one I got was, the first one I got was actually a visiting visa. Now, for adults who are looking to get their children to have a visa as well, a tip for you would be ensure you get the visa for your child before they turn 18. Because once they turn 18, they're now an adult and they will have to do it themselves. So what my father did for all of his children, he ensured that we all got our visas before we were 18. And so I've had mine since I was 16 years old. Well, I mean, this is my second one, but the first one I got, I was 16 years old. They want to ensure that you have ties to the country. So if your child is applying for it when they're 18 years old, it's going to be harder for them because they're going to say, oh, but you can easily run off. You don't have any tie to the country. But if you get it while they're younger, it will be easier for them. Like some people show up in their uniform and all that stuff. So just be mindful. Like when you're trying to get a visa for your child, it is best to get it before they turn 18. Okay, let's go. Carry on. So now we know the type of visa that we need. Let's go to the next step. Guys, before we go into the process of applying for the visa, here's something that I am stressing that you focus on before applying to the US visa. I can't say this enough. Make sure your record is clean like a whistle. No criminal activities, no form, nothing. Because if you have a police record of some sort, of any malicious activity, it can affect the application. They're looking at your portfolio or your application as a whole, everything that they can track on you. And on top of that, social media counts. We'll get into that for a bit. But before that, if it is possible, I know this might be difficult for some people, but if it is possible for you to travel to another country that doesn't require a visa, or it's easier to go to or visit, please do it. Please travel to a country before you go to the US if you can, because I know sometimes it might be difficult. Please, I'm begging you, because this shows that you are able to visit a country and come back to your homeland. The biggest reason why a lot of people don't get the visa is because they are not sure, the immigration officers are not sure that if you get this visa, you will abide by the rules. They're not sure if you get this visa, you're gonna come back to your home country. That's one of the biggest reasons. On top of that, like as I said, like if there are any criminal activities like scamming, or which is prevalent in Jamaica, like if you have any one of those kind of records, it's gonna be very difficult for you to get the visa. I didn't make the rules, man. That's just how it is, right? Let's go into the social media now. If you had any issue about the country before you get there, and I'm talking about any country at all, bear that in mind, any country at all, if you had something bad to say about any country at all, if you're planning to go into that country, please, I'm begging you, delete it before you apply for a visa. Please delete it, especially for the US. Mainly because when you are submitting the application, they're gonna ask you for all your social media handles. And if you're going on there to bashing the president, bashing whatever representative they have, bashing the governor, bashing the US, all of that stuff, all of these things, they're gonna search for you. And you might think they will search for you. You hear what I'm saying? Because I have literally been in the airport and I got detained. Yeah, I got detained. And they were digging through my files on whatever system they had going on, researching the company I own, all of that stuff. And this is not even in the US Embassy. I'm talking like when I was at the airport at the US. So make sure all your social media handles, if you had like an old one before that was like bashing a particular then delete it. No, delete it. Get rid of it completely before you even consider applying for the US visa. Now that I've drilled this in you, remember also their focus is to ensure that you have enough ties to the country, that you're going to come back to the country that you were born in, you are originated in, you are the citizen of. Give them enough evidence that you will come back. That's all they care about, to be honest. That's what all of them care about. If you are able to convince them about this, that you can come back, they'll give it to you easily. Now for the application process, there are 3 websites you have to think about when you're applying for the application. I'm going to put all the links of those websites below, and also ensure that the sites that you're going to are the legitimate sites, or make sure that they're the correct site, because there are companies out there or malicious people out there, or what you call that, scammers or whatever you call it, that will put up fake sites that looks almost like the original and charge money for the application, but it's not the official. So it is almost like you paid money to a fake site. They pretty much stole your money, because the US don't even know about your application. They stole your money and your data. See what I'm saying? So be very careful when you are applying for the thing yourself. And that's one of the reasons why people actually use travel agencies. They don't want to make any mistakes. Trust me. If you know what to do, if you're smart and confident enough to do it yourself, go right ahead. Check down the link below. And on top of that, I'm going to provide a PDF document of all the questions that are going to be in the application, so that you have it ready on hand. So when you are ready to apply for the thing, you have everything ready. I'm going to go into that in a bit. All right, so the first website is going to be travel.state.gov, and I'm going to put the link below, and the link in in the video so you can see it. That's one of the first sites, to be honest, because that's going to give you like the information of the application. The application is called DS-160, and that's the form that you need to fill out to apply for the visa. And this is not specific to any country. You click the link and it will take you to where the DS-160 form is located for you to submit the application. That official site, which is the travelstate.gov, is going to take you to another site that has the applications process, which is the DS-160. And once you have completed that, then there's another site. I'll put in the link below and also on the screen. That link is where you go to pay for the visa and set your appointment to go to the embassy. So it's 3 sites. One is going to give you general information about how to whatever. It's going to link to the second site that would have the actual application form. Then once that's completed, then you're going to go to the third site that is going to say, okay, pay the money and set your appointment. But this third site is going to request the application ID from this second website to plug in here, and it will tell you whether or not you need to go to the embassy for an appointment, like a visit for them to do the interview, or you should just submit your documents. I'll go into that further. Once you go to DS-160, they're going to bring you to this site that looks half done. It needs to be coded properly. I'm a website developer, so it needs to wear some work, but it's functional. So this site, this is where you're going to put in the location which embassy you want to go to. You're going to select Jamaica Kingston, and then you're going to put in like some security code to check that if you're a robot, and then it's going to give you an option to, I think, set a security question, and then you submit that. I'm going to show it on the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. There's going to be a section 2 at the front where you can select an image, and it will tell you if the image is appropriate for the application or not. And fun fact, I found out that you don't have to go to a studio to do the photo. This could be a background. Like I could move this chair, stand in the background here, take a nice little picture and check it, and you could test them until they accept one. And that's 1, and 2, it doesn't have to be a white background. I found that out too. Actually, the last application I did actually used my phone. They didn't have the time to go to a photo studio to get the stuff done, so we just took a picture, snap, boom, set it up, checked it was accepted, and then we were good to go. So just bear in mind that yes, it's good to do a professional photo, but it's not always required. Once you get the system to accept the photo that you're submitting, you should be good to go. The visa application is broken down into 6 sections. Personal information, they're going to ask you things about your date of birth, where you live, very personal things about you the individual applying for it. And then when we talk about travel information, they want to know where you plan to go in the US, how long you're going to stay, the address of the place you're going to stay, if there's a person that you're going to go to, who that person is, their address, for example. When they talk about family information, they want to know your parents. If you are a parent, they want to know your children. They go in depth, but as I said, I'm going to provide a link to the PDF where you can download and see all the exact questions they want to know from you. And along with the travel information and stuff, they also want to check, they want to check your work information too. They want to know what your occupation is, where the place is located. So if you work somewhere, they want to know the name of the company, they want to know where it's located, contact information of that place. So just make sure you have that in mind when you're applying for it. They also want to know security information. So as I mentioned before, if you have any running with the law, any trafficking, all that stuff, in this section though, the security section is like a yes or no. So you put no, yes, no, yes, no. And as I said, in the PDF, I will give the details of the type of field, so you kind of have an idea of what to expect. So you put either yes or no, or if it's something that you have to like literally write out. So if it's a case where you have a contact in the US where you're planning, so let's say you try to stay with a family member, they're going to want to know who that family member is, the relationship you have with that person, their phone number, their address, the occupation that they have. If you're renewing your visa, they want to know when was the last time you've been, the last 4 times you've been to the US, and how long you've stayed, and all that stuff. So as I said, I'll put all that information below. One of the reasons why I'm giving you this PDF is because it will help you to have all this information together, so that when you're applying for it, you don't have to be searching or calling and say, okay, what's this person number again? What's this person address again? Because I've seen it so many times where they don't know their parents' date of birth, right? And they gotta call the parents, oh, when were you born? What year were you born? All of that stuff. So having that document ready on hand will help you, because the application has like a timer on it, a 30 minutes timer, and if the 30 minutes, if you hit the 30 minutes and you haven't finished the application, it will kick you out. Each section they allow you to save and move to the next step, save and move to the next step. But if you didn't save anything, all of that information that you were writing through, it will wipe it out and you gotta start all over again. And on top of that, when you're starting the application, they're gonna give you an application ID. Please ensure that you write it down. Write down the application ID, because that's what you're going to reference to make the appointment. That's what you're going to reference to retrieve the application. If in any way you are filling out the application and you get kicked out, you can always go back and retrieve. So write down the application ID, and they're also going to tell you to create a security question. Ensure that you also write down the security question so you remember what it is, so that when you're retrieving the application, you can go back to where you left off. Because if you don't do that, you have to start over the application process, and if there is more than one application for the same person, the system will automatically cancel both. So you gotta be careful. Make sure you store the application ID and the security question when you're submitting the application. As you go through each phase, you click save, move to the next step. Click save, move to the next step. And then once you get to the end of they will ask you to review the entire thing to make sure everything is correct. At the very end, they're gonna ask you a question like, who helped you prepare this application? If it's a travel agency, put the travel agency name and whatever. If you're the only one that did it yourself, you can just put no, and then submit the application, and then you can do a print out. There's a confirmation page that they will give you to print out. You print that out, and that's what you will take to the embassy with you. A DS-160 confirmation page, you need to take that with you to the embassy. It will tell you like successfully application was submitted, yada yada yada, and then you go to the next step. Once your application was successfully submitted and you have printed the confirmation sheet. Confirmation sheet is going to have a picture of the picture that you submitted with your name, whatever. I'm going to put on the screen what it looks like, and once you've gotten that confirmation sheet, is going to also have the application number on there. You can go to the next side, which is where you pay for the visa and then make your appointment. Let's go to the next step. On this side, you're going to create an account, and it's going to allow you to select who you're doing it for, whether you're the person submitting, setting the appointment, or you're doing it on behalf of somebody else. And you are putting the information there. This side is going to give you all the details as it relates to the visa status. Once you make the payment, it will give you information on how to schedule the appointment. It will give you a calendar with the available options, and you can select the date that you want depending on the earliest time or the latest time, whichever time that works for you based on what's available. And then once you have selected it, it will tell you, okay, you have the appointment. And if there's any way where you're not able to make the appointment, you could always go back in and change the appointment without a charge. I mean, with restrictions, I believe it's up until a year, but don't quote me on it. I'll put it in the details below as to how often you can move the appointment in the event you can't make it on a particular day. Whichever email you use to create that account, That is what you need to follow to get updated information, because once you make payment, you will get confirmation of payment with the instructions of the appointment in your email. It will give you a whole PDF document along with like an official email with payment made. It will give you the instructions of where the embassy is to go to the appointment. It will give you information on where to do the pickup after you have gotten the visa. So now that we've set the appointment, let's talk about the day before the appointment. If you are lucky, you might not need an appointment. They might just tell you to submit your documents if you are lucky. But if you're not, you will have to go in to do an appointment. And the day before the appointment, just make sure you have everything. Make sure you have a photo, an additional photo, just in case you get the visa, that they will take it from you and they use that. Make sure you have all your documents in one place. Make sure you have your DS-160 form printed out. Make sure you have the confirmation of payment from the other website, the final website we talk about. Make sure you have that too, with the instructions. The form with the instruction plus the DS-160 plus your passport size picture. Make sure you have that all packaged neatly in a nice little folder so that you have everything organized and ready to take that with you. Make sure your passport is up to date and not expired. Make sure it's not expired, even though that's probably the first thing that you do before you apply for the visa. You want to make sure it's not expired. And you don't want to wait until the day before to say, oh my god, my passport is expired. Make sure before you apply for the visa, your passport is not expired. Once you have that up and running, you have all the things that you need. Make sure you take your stuff, your clothes that you're gonna wear from the day before, just to make sure that you are on par. And please dress decent. Make sure the outfit that you're wearing, if you see someone else on the road walking, you would identify them as being decent. Don't wear any sleeveless or not. Be modest. Dress modest and go in the place and look civilized. Look civilized. Don't wear no, as a female, don't wear any impy skimpy, what I call impy skimpy, no shorts up in the butt. Like just dress decent. Just dress decent. You know what I'm saying? Just look appropriate. Look appropriate. Be calm, be cool. Make sure you eat a good breakfast the morning of the appointment. In most cases, the earliest appointment I've seen is like 8:30, and then the latest one I've seen is probably like 11:30. So chances are, by like, if it's the latest one that you've chosen, which is like 11:30, by after 1, after 2, you're out of there, depending on how many people are there. And also it depends on like how fast they're moving, right? So just be mindful. Make sure you have a healthy breakfast the day of the appointment so that you can think clearly. Another thing, please, I'm begging you, do not bring any form of electronic device with you. Absolutely nada. To be on the safe side, bring nothing. Bring only your documents. If you have somebody else who's traveling with you, they can't come in. You're the only person. Only the person who is applying for the visa can go in. I remember when I went there with my sister, there, and I thought I couldn't go in there. I could not go in there. I had to stay outside and cut her bag because she couldn't take her bag with her. So you couldn't take bag, purse, no umbrella, no phone. If you have a watch, no smartwatch. A client of mine thought that they said watch was allowed, but she thought she could have brought her watch. Apparently her watch is a smartwatch, so she couldn't bring it. It's an electronic device, yada. So she had to come out of the light and go drop it off and then come back. Please, to be on the safe side. Their list is so intense in terms of what's prohibited. To be on the safe side, don't bring nothing. Just bring the clothes that you have wearing on and the documents that they need in there. And to be on the safe side, I would say bring solid documents that shows that you have ties to the country. So for example, if you have registered a business, get a copy of the business certificate. Let's say you have some funds in your account. That is like a decent amount. Put it in there too, because sometimes they might ask for that. They might say, okay, like if you're self-employed, it might be a little trickier because they're like, okay, you're not tied to a job here. So you gotta kind of have something else to prove that you're not gonna stay. So if you have a decent amount of money in your bank account, you can get the bank statement from the bank, and that's something you have to do before. Some banks, I think ScotiaPay charges you $3,000 to get the bank statement. You could get a bank statement and get that printed out, so you could have that in your folder as like evidence that you're gonna stay. If you have land title, put it in there too. Take it with you. You don't know what they're gonna ask you, so just be prepared. You see what I'm saying? Any form of document you have that will show you have ties to the country, like serious ties to the country, take it with you. Like if you have a child, bring their birth certificate. I mean, it's much of a stretch, but if you know that your application is weak, try to bring more evidence to prove that you're gonna stay in this country. Just bear in mind, be cool, be calm, be collected. They're gonna send you through, you're gonna join this line, they're gonna send you to this whole place, they send you to this machine thing that you're gonna like check. They're gonna scan you for all your stuff that you have. So like you got any form of, if you're walking with like a ratchet knife, or take that out. As I said, walk with nothing. You have a purse, leave it with somebody. Don't come away with there. And if you are traveling with a minor, if the minor is the child that is going to apply, has the application, and you are the parent, please, I'm begging you, take your ID. Even though you're not the person who's going to go apply for the visa, take your ID. And I mean an ID that is approved by the government, a government issued ID, a driver's license, a national ID, the passport. Take those with you, because I had a client who went to the embassy. I guess she thought that she would need an ID because it was her child applying for it. They sent her back on the line. She had to go and get it to come back in here. So take your ID, government issued ID with you. If it's your child that is applying for the visa and you already have it, just take yours. And if it's your child applying for the visa and you already have a visa, take it with you. Take it with you. Because I remember when my mom set the thing up to apply for my visa, they had asked to see her passport to see if she had a US visa. You see what I'm saying? Or if she's traveled before. So anything at all that you have to prove that you have ties to the country, that's their biggest thing. Do you have ties to the country? Make sure you have that. Once you walk onto the grounds of the embassy, you are now being governed by US laws. The minute you land on the US embassy soil, you are being governed by US laws. So if you do something illegal in there, just know they're gonna take you to the US court, honey. It's not Jamaica, you're on US territory at that point. Right? So just bear in mind that you are being watched. The minute you touch that property, you are being watched all the way through. So be very careful of what you're doing in there. Just be in P's and Q's. Be calm, be cool, collected, be confident, be knowledgeable in the things that you have. Make sure the application that you submitted, you are the one that submitted it, or if you're not the one that submitted it, you know what is on there. You know what was written. Because if you turn up to that embassy and you're answering the question that they're asking you and you don't know if what you're saying is not matching the application submission, you're not going to get the visa. Make sure you know what's on every single field, because you don't know where the questions are coming from. They could ask you anything. They could say, who are you staying with? What's the address? How long are you staying? Have you been to the US before? Which other country have you been to before? You don't know where the question is going. Like if you put that you have relatives in there, they're gonna ask you, even though the information you've submitted it, they will ask you to see if you were the one that submitted it, or if you know what's on there. So make sure you study the information that you submitted, and you could always retrieve it. You could always retrieve the application to see like what you submitted on the platform. Also, when you are finished with the application, when you're submitting it, you could do the printout. As I was saying, you print out the confirmation. You could print out all the questions that you've answered, and then you can print that out too. You won't take it with you to the embassy, but it's for your personal use, so you know exactly what you submitted. In the case you don't remember, you remember what you put there. So make sure you know exactly what you put on the application, because if you say anything that doesn't align with what you put there, you're not gonna get it. Another thing too, make sure if it's a minor that you're traveling with, make sure the child that is submitting for the application, you guys are on the same page. Make sure you are both on the same page. Ask the child a question. You say, where are you gonna stay? You know, where are you going? Who are you going to? Ask them the question and make sure they know what make sure they know what's on there too, because they're gonna ask the child and to see if what you said or the child said is a lie. Because I've literally sat there, and this sucks, but the way how it's set up, when they call you to the station, everybody who's sitting waiting can hear everything that's being said. So if you are saying something and the other person is saying something that doesn't align, everybody knows what's going on. Every time you get denied, everybody knows that you got denied. If you got accepted, everybody knows that you got accepted. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta make sure that you're on the same page and you're calm, you're cool, you're collected. Don't sound too muffled. Don't sound like you're not confident, you don't know exactly what you're saying. Make sure you look them in the eye to show that you're confident. And also, do not overshare. Do not overshare. Don't share too much. You put your foot in your mouth. Do not overshare. Just be straightforward. Whatever they ask you, hit them with it. Whatever they ask you, hit them with it. Do not you hear what I'm saying? Do not say more than you need to say. If they say, what's your name? Say your name. Keep quiet after that. Don't overshare nothing. You see what I'm saying? So be confident. Look them in the eye. Show that you're not afraid of them. It's a game. You gotta play it by the game. You gotta play the game, man. This is a game. All of this is a game. You gotta play it by the game. Dress the part, look the part, sound the part. Even if you're not confident, fake it till you make it. You see what I'm saying? Make sure everything is aligned. When you go up there to talk to the representative, they will tell you right there if you've got it or not. If you've got it, they'll get a white paper. If you haven't got it, they'll give you a green paper. And they'll give you like some generic stuff as to why you didn't get it, yada, yada, yada. It's sad if you didn't get it and you are not happy with the result. You can contest it. I don't know how long that will take, but you can challenge it or get an appeal. You know, try to dig deeper into why you didn't get it. There's a process there. If you want to be brave enough, you could ask them why. They're gonna tell you, oh, read the paper. Most of them say, oh, read the paper to see why you didn't get it. Yada yada yada. But if you're fortunate to get the white slip, oh, you get to go. Yeah, you get to go. So they will give you instruction. They will tell you like, okay, you gotta pick up in like 1 week time at whatever. They will send you to the Legally Post Mall to pick up your passports. When you've gotten the visa, they will take the passport from you and they will tell you to pick it up at the Legally Post Mall. Now the email that you use to set the appointment, that's where all the information is going to come through. So whenever it's ready for pickup, you will receive an email from that last website that will say, hey, your stuff is ready. Once you have gotten the US visa, you are halfway there. Getting the US visa opens so many doors because almost all the country knows that the US application process is such a rigorous one, it's such a difficult one, that if you have received the US visa, it's easier for them to give you theirs as well. I always say that the US is one of the greatest marketers in the world because they're able to market their brand and sell the American dream and make everybody want to just go there. So because they've done such a great job at marketing their country and attracting so many people, they have to ensure that their application process is very difficult. So if you are able to successfully get the US visa, other countries will be like, oh, the US gave you the visa, so I could give you too. A matter of fact, if you receive a US visa, you won't need to apply to get the visa for some countries that have a great relationship with the US. There are quite a few of them. Because I had a US visa, I didn't need one for Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, or Costa Rica. That's 5 countries. That eliminated 5 visas that I would have had to get. Even if you have a US visa and still would have to get a visa for another country, the other countries would find it easier to give it to you because they would say, hey, if you've gotten a US visa already and you haven't run away, I'll give it to you too. But there are some conditions with some of those countries. They want to ensure that you've traveled on it before. So their condition would be have a US visa and you've used it. See, that's the difference now. Because if you have a US visa and you haven't used it, you can't enter their country. Some countries ensure, I think Costa Rica is one of those countries that you can enter their country, but you would have, if you have a US visa, but you would have to have used it before going there in order to go in there with it. All the countries want to know that you're gonna come back. Just know that the US visa that they give you, in most cases, it's gonna be 10 years, a 10-year visa. So it's gonna expire in 10 years. If it says 10 years, it doesn't mean that you can stay there for 10 years and not come back to the country. It means it's a multiple entry visa. You can come and go. The maximum that they will normally give you is 6 months, but I would suggest not taking it because they're gonna say, okay, what were you doing in the US for 6 months? What kind of job do you have? Why were you there so long? Who are you going to? You gotta be careful of when you go there not to overstay your time because they're very strict when it comes to that, baby. You have to be careful. Now that you've gotten the visa, let's talk about how you get there. You're gonna get there with a plane. I mean, you could get there other ways, but most common way is gonna be a plane. You can get there by going to either Norman Manley Airport in Kingston, or you go to Santa International Airport in Montego Bay. This is for the Jamaicans. For the other countries, you get it wherever your airport is that take you out of the country. I'm trying to make this video not be too long. I really hope it's not too much. I'm gonna just tell you where you can go to book the flights. So my go-to place to book flights is going to be Google Flights. That's gonna give you a quick glance of how much it's gonna cost. By default, if you're in Jamaica, it's gonna select the Jamaican currency, but you can go to the very bottom of the page and select US dollars so you can see what the currency is for US, because the conversion rate might be different, so don't follow the Jamaican conversion. Worst case scenario and the prices are looking crazy, I would go to skyscanner.net. I'm gonna put in the link below, and if I still feel like I could get something cheaper or whatever, I might go directly to the site of the airline to see if there's something cheaper. They have a ton of airlines that fly back and forth to Jamaica, and the fact that you have a US visa give you access to a bunch of other places. The flights are going to be cheaper for you because if you don't have a US visa, you're going to have to route yourself to all these other places to get to the other side of the world or wherever, and the price, your plane fare could be super expensive. But having a US visa will give you access to cheaper routes. How planes work in terms of transportation, if they have more traffic going to a particular destination, the flights are going to be cheaper. When you get to that destination, you get outside of the plane, the first place you have to go to is what they call passport control. That is the immigration officers. This is the US second line of defense. And I say that because they are trying to bar people, outsiders, from harming their citizens. And that's another reason why they're so thorough in the way how they do things, because they're trying to prevent people from taking away things from the people who are actually born there. When you go to passport control, you're gonna join this long line of a bunch of flights coming in at the same time. No devices, no cameras, no phones, and it's almost like another visa appointment. It literally is almost like another visa appointment. They're gonna ask you the same questions. They're gonna ask you where you're staying, how long you're staying, who you're going to, purpose of your stay, do you have enough money for the trip. They might ask for evidence for return flight. Make sure you have a return flight. Return flight meaning you have a return ticket back to Jamaica. You know when you're gonna exit the country. Depending on what it is, they might ask those questions. Please, when you're dressing, you're going to the airport, please be decent, because the first impression of you, they're gonna use that and they're gonna judge you and they're gonna ask you questions based on that. If you come and dress right and look decent, they might don't even ask you any questions. It just depends on how they're feeling at the time, on the person who you got. But be confident, treat it like an embassy appointment. Don't overshare. Be ready. Make sure you have your accommodation printed out in terms of where you're going. If you're doing an Airbnb, make sure you have the address. Make sure you have the contact number of the person in the event they need to call. You see what I'm saying? If you're going with a family member, make sure you have the phone number. Make sure you have the address, the name of the person. So, because they might take you into the second screening. Hello. They might take you into the second screening area, which I've gone into multiple times. multiple times, and they almost kind of play mind games on you because they will ask you the same question three different ways just to see if your answer will change, and they try to use psychology to figure you out. Be ready, be confident enough, answer them, look them straight in the eyes, and don't overshare. You hear me? Do not overshare. If you have successfully gone through that, don't be nervous. If you have successfully gone through that little immigration area there, you are almost there. Just be aware that they're watching you. The minute you enter that airport, the minute you enter the country, they are watching you. It's random, but sometimes if you're coming into Miami, they will have like a group of immigration officers or police right at the entrance when you're coming out of the plane, just to intimidate you. They probably might get a tip from somewhere and they're looking for somebody. Don't be nervous. They got dogs sniffing and all that stuff. Don't be nervous. Go through, don't overshare, answer what you've been asked, keep it pushing. Once you get through that area, if you're connecting, meaning you're going to another destination, let's say you're going to New York and you're connecting to Miami, you might have to pick up your bags. You always have to pick up your bags at the airport. If Miami is your final destination, I'm saying Miami because it's one destination, but if it's another airport, you have to pick up your bags and then recheck it if you're going to another destination, or take your bag and head out. When you collect your bag, there's going to be a next set of security at the last post there. That's what you call customs, that Jamaica experience, and we call them customs. And they're the ones that will probably check your bags to see if you got any contrabands in there. If you're taking like illegal stuff, not illegal stuff, but things that prohibited stuff, like things that are not cooked or grown provision that might have certain bugs on it that will probably be introduced to their agricultural environment that might affect it, they will take your stuff. You gotta be careful of like the things that you're also bringing into the country. There's so much to go over, so I don't want to go into in depth, but once you clear custom, baby, oh, you in there, you're in there. Once you have entered into the country, you have access to all 50 states. I've been fortunate enough to visit 24 of them, plus Washington DC will technically make it 25, it is 24 of them. You will have access to all of that. Hawaii, Alaska, New York, Los Angeles, all of these places. And once you're in the country, you don't have to deal with all of that immigration officer anymore. You got past your TSA, which is what they call, I'll put it in the thing below, but you can fly from this state to this state. You could take a bus, you could take a train, you could take Amtrak, Greyhound, Megabus, whatever it is. Once you get into that country, you're good to go. Now that we are in the country, let's talk about attractions, let's talk about accommodation. Now, I don't need to go into all the details about the US. I think the US is big enough for you to know a lot about it in terms of getting accommodation, but I'm just going to tell you like the list of sites that you could go to check it out. If you're traveling to visit family, it won't be too difficult because they're probably going to go to their home. One of the reasons why I love the US so much is because I feel like every state has something different to offer, and if you were to divide them into like 50 different countries, it could easily be 50 different countries because they all operate differently, they all look different. They all look different. It's so crazy. If you're looking for snow, it's there. If you're looking for desert is there. If you're looking for beach, you can find that. Looking for mountains, you can find that. If you're looking for city life, you can find that. They have everything, and it extends from New York or Maine to Oregon and California. You have a lot of room to cover. You have a lot of options to choose from. In terms of places to book all of these attractions and stuff, you have Expedia, all the big ones. You have Expedia, you have Airbnb, you have Booking.com, you have all of those popular ones that you can think of. They're on there. You can choose them. Yeah, that's it for the US. Like, I've literally told you how to get there, the documents you need, questions that they're gonna ask you once you get in the country, the attractions and all that stuff. And that's it, man. That's it for the US. That's how I got there. That's how I've been traveling there for the last almost 15 years now. I want to say it's about 15 years now I've been traveling to the US by myself. I hope this was thorough enough. I took so long to do this because I felt like it was, sure there would be a ton of videos on it, but no one has my experience because I've been through so much and I've been to so many states. I feel like information that I provided would be so much valuable. I hope that what I provided to you is enough for you to go and do it yourself. But if you get stuck you can reach out to me. I have now registered my travel agency, so and I offer US visa services. So if you are in the process where you want to get your visa and you are not comfortable with doing it yourself, you can message me. All my details are in the link below, and it will also be attached in the document that I'll be sharing with you. But for those who want to book it themselves and want to have an idea of what all the questions will be like in the application itself, you can click the link below and download the PDF and be on your way. I hope you enjoyed, guys. It's not going to be like this for the next set of videos. We're going to head to Mexico. I'm going to show you all about Mexico and Cancun and Mexico City, because I went to two of these cities in Mexico. You're going to see all of that video, and then when I've completed all of the Mexico videos, then I will show you how I got to Mexico. See you next week, man, where I will take you from the US to Mexico, country number 3. Signing out. Love you guys.